All right, and welcome back to my loyal members, subscribers, and first time viewers. If you're new here and are interested in learning about saving money in physical gold and silver, then you've come to the right channel. Please do check out any of my 200 plus videos covering physical gold and silver, where I discuss the many advantages of stacking physical gold and silver, as well as the different coins and bars that I find to be the better options in the market to buy and hold. In today's video, which is part of our precious metals mining and royalty series, we'll take a closer look at precious metals royalty company Gold Royalty, which I'm especially excited about as Gold Royalty, ticker symbol GROY, trades on the New York Stock Exchange and is available to purchase on popular trading platforms such as Robinhood and Webull. While I primarily view my physical stack as a savings account, I also like to leverage my precious metals exposure with gold and silver mining and royalty companies, especially today, as it is just another way of buying the recent dip in metals prices. I'd also like to thank Gold Royalty Corp for sponsoring today's awareness video, and as always, I'd like to remind you that I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own due diligence before investing. And with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at Gold Royalty Corp. All right, so let's start out with some basic fundamentals here and a general overview of Gold Royalty Corp. Gold Royalty Corp is a precious metals focused royalty and streaming company, which does provide financing solutions to the metals and mining industry. It is focused on acquiring royalties, streams, and similar interest at varying stages of the mine life cycle to build a portfolio offering near, medium, and longer term attractive returns for its investors. The company's portfolio consists of net smelter royalties ranging from half a percentage point to 2% on 18 gold properties that cover 12 projects located in the Americas. Now, precious metals royalty and streaming companies do differ from pure mining companies in that they are primarily engaged with the financial end of the entire mining operation. So, mining does entail exploration, which also incurs expensive heavy equipment, and often the location of gold and silver is off the beaten path, meaning there are additional expenses in the forms of transportation, energy, water, and sometimes communication. So, to put it in another way, we aren't talking about a company that is drilling for gold here, but instead a company with a vested interest in companies that do drill for gold. Now, royalties are basically payments to a royalty holder by a property owner or a project operator. Royalties are typically based on a percentage of the minerals produced and the revenues or profits generated from that specific property. Similar to royalties, but slightly different, are streams. Streams are physical commodity purchase agreements. In exchange for an upfront deposit and ongoing payments for metal delivered, the holder purchases all or a portion of one or more metals produced from a mine at a pre agreed upon price. Royalty and streaming companies don't have to mine for gold themselves. They can instead fund the projects that they like the most, so the ones with the most potential. That limits their risk. Let other companies do the legwork, for instance, and potentially profit from any gold discoveries. For years, a looming reserve crisis has also been a major issue in the gold sector. Assuming it continues, we do believe that this should put upward pressure on the spot gold price in the future. Its portfolio today would include 17 newly created royalties comprised of 2% net smelter returns or NSRs on 2 gold projects, 1% NSRs on 11 gold projects, and a 0.5 or 0.5% NSR on 1 gold project. 11 of the 14 NSRs would be associated with advanced stage resource and development projects with exposure to the following aggregated resources: 11.4 million ounces of gold, 14.3 million ounces of gold equivalent in the measured and indicated categories, as well as 13.8 million ounces of gold or 16.6 million ounces of gold equivalent in the inferred category. Now, Gold Royalty Corp would retain exposure to future discoveries through its precious metals portfolio that does cover 1,290 square kilometers or 139,000 hectares, always have a problem with that word, in mining-friendly jurisdictions that include 5 countries in the Americas. So let's look at the growth potential. All right, so additional opportunities to expand the royalty portfolio through buybacks of existing NSR royalties. So they can essentially just purchase contracts from some of their peers or other competitors in the space. And those do range from a half percentage point up to 2% from third-party holders. And that is on up from 5 to 14 projects they're currently looking at right now. To sum it up, Gold Royalty Corp stood to gain half a percentage point to 2% NSR royalties on the company's interest in these 14 existing projects, with the opportunity to significantly expand the royalty portfolio going forward. So this is good news, and also a great example of how royalty companies can add a steady state of income and scale rapidly as compared to pure play mining operations. And we do see demand for gold and silver increasing over the coming years and decades. So with a growing population and, of course, increased industrial demand, as well as currency debasement, the future does look good for both gold and silver, which, of course, bodes well for those that mine it and finance those operations. But I do like these royalty companies because they can really limit their exposure. They really do get to be the bank here and choose which projects to participate in. Now that you have a good idea of how gold royalties operate in general, let's get to the financials of this particular company. So as of May 31st, 2021, the share price for GROY, GROY, was $4.98 with a market cap of US $207 million. There are roughly 41.5 million shares outstanding, with nearly half of all the shares owned by Gold Mining Incorporated and another 19% by other institutional investors. Retail investors, such as you and I, we account for 31% of the shares, and insiders hold approximately 2% of the total float. So Gold Royalty Corp has a lot of cash on hand and is poised for further investments in the precious metal space. So now let's look at the technical analysis associated with Gold Royalty Corp. As you can see, the share price has seen some nice gains, as we have witnessed across the board with gold and silver, due to the spot price increase over the last couple of months. But as you can see, the stock has also sold off slightly over the last week, as the rest of the metals and mining sector did, on gold and silver's spot price pullback based on the Federal Reserve statements regarding future interest rate increases beginning in 2023, which many analysts, myself included, even though I'm not an analyst, but I mean, we're talking 2 years out here. I don't see that having much of a short-term lasting effect on the spot price of gold and silver, not with all of the spending and continued push for green energy, which definitely supports the silver spot price as well. Now, looking at past performance, we do see the 1 week return, as mentioned, was pretty brutal for the U.S. metals and mining sector, down 10.4%. However, Gold Royalty Corp, with its strong balance sheet and management team, well, they held their head mostly above water on the pullback, seeing losses of just 2.2%. The 1 year returns for the metals and mining sector are very strong, as indicated by that 75.4% increase over the last 365 days. So this company is also poised to capitalize on increasing spot price and further currency debasement, as we mentioned earlier, which also increases demand for gold ownership, both in the physical and paper sides of the market. Looking backwards further, you can see that Gold Royalty Corp has been mostly stable over the past 90 days, clocking a gain of 1.7% across the last 3 months, slightly edging out its industry peers, and the long-term price volatility, looking over towards the right, versus the overall stock market, does support these figures with a very low volatility index on the New York Stock Exchange. So for those of you that are looking for an investment in the gold industry, in the gold sector, right? You want to purchase stock in a company, but you don't like a whole lot of market volatility, but you also want a little bit more insurance in the aspect that royalty and streaming companies get to kind of handpick the projects that they fund. Well, this one might be a good opportunity for those of you that are very risk averse. Okay, moving on, we can see that the strong financial health of the company, as indicated by the fact that Gold Royalty Corp holds no debt, with cash on hand, and has no interest-bearing payments to make each month or year or quarter. So that also does look good for the company going forward, having no debt. Another aspect I do like to look at when evaluating potential future investments is the level of insider trading. After all, the management team has the best possible picture of how the business is going, and so it's important to watch for when the management team buys or sells shares of the company that they are directors in the management team. So good news, no one is selling here, but quite the opposite, as 118,000 shares were bought by the management team over the last 3 to 6 months. Those shares were valued around 594,000 US dollars. So the management team is buying, not selling. That's a good sign. Okay, so there you go. Gold Royalty Corp, ticker symbol GROY on the New York Stock Exchange, is a debt-free and growing company poised to expand with strong insider buying of the stock. It is led by industry professionals that know how to build and run royalty and streaming companies with proven track records. Amir Adani, for instance, is the CEO and president of UEC, Uranium Energy Corp, another stock that I hold. And that company, as you can see here, over the last 3 months or so, has done quite well, even given the recent pullback. The stock was up quite a bit higher than that. So great management team here, great outlook, no debt, cash on hand, looking to expand. They get to handpick the projects that they want to fund. That's why I really like royalty and streaming companies such as this. And Wheaton Precious Metals is another one that I'm a big fan of, to give another company for you to look at. But yeah, here we go. So this is another company I've begun investing into my Webull precious and base metals mining portfolio. And I'll continue to add some cash to this account in the weeks ahead and expand my position in these positions that I currently have, especially this company here on the dip. Thanks again for tuning in today. I do hope that you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to talking to you again soon when we look at some 90% silver. We're going to unbox some 90% silver and also look at some Libertads, some silver Libertads that I recently purchased. So stay tuned for those videos. They're coming up. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you soon on another Precious Metals Focus video.